Hello everyone, this is the third part of our video in which I will be showing you how to code for the main splash screen and the play arena. So let us begin with the code. So first I'll go to splash screen and I will initialize one global variable that is thumb. I'll just write TP. So I have created one global variable TP, that is thumb position, and I will give it a value as 0. Now whenever splash screen is initialized, then we have to set the global TP to 0 and we have to set the TP, we have to give a new value to TP, that is slider1 dot thumb position. To know more about the slider component, you can also see our video on how to use the slider component in MIT App Inventor. I will provide you with the link in the description box so you can see that. Then we have to set the slider1 visible to true, and we have to set the loading label, that is the label 2, or you can say where we will be displaying the undergoing process label, so that we have to make it visible. Then I'll go to the clock component and I will make it timer enabled. To true, and I will set this loading dot text to join, just a second, join, and I will be adding 3 more strings here. And first I will take loading, so I'll just type here loading, double quote and loading, and I will place it in the first place. Then I'll just open one bracket, so I'll open one common bracket, then I will print the global thumb position, then I will print the percentage sign, and finally I will close the bracket. Then we will code for the slider now. So whenever clock 1 dot timer, we have to set global TP to slider1 dot thumb position. Instead of that, we will just take here, I'll go to maths and I will drag one random integer from, and I will go to maths and I will take plus here. So global thumb position will be get global TP plus random integer from 10 to 20. So basically I'll just explain you this. So if we see, the slider is like a progress bar. So the progress bar will increase randomly. So we are not giving it a fixed value. It will take any random values from 10 to 20 and will increase accordingly. Then we have to set the thumb position of the slider global TP. Now if I'll take one condition, if now I will go to maths and I will drag this equal to, and I will just take here less than. So if this global TP, so TP is basically thumb position, if it is less than 95, so I am giving it a value as 95. If it is less than 95, then we have to print loading. I'll add few dots here. And once the value of the global TP is greater than or equal to 95, I'll delete this and we will set the thumb position to 100. And the last thing which we will add here is that if this global TP is equal to 100, then we have to print here completed. Then we have to set timer enabled to false, and we have to open our play arena. So I will open another screen, play. So here you can see play. So the spelling should be exactly right. Now we have coded for this, and now we will move on to our play arena, the code for our play area. And first of all, if you want to get the clock component, you can go to sensors and you can get this clock component. Now I will go to play screen and I will code for this. So whenever the screen is initialized, so whenever play is initialized, we have to set fireball 1 dot speed to 30. So I'll do the same thing with the fireball 2 and 3. Next, I'll set the heading of these fireballs to 90 degree. Heading to 90. And I'll delete this block. Next, we will initialize one global variable, that is score, and we will set the score to 0. Whenever play is initialized, we have to set this global score to 0. And we have to set the score label dot text to get global score. Now you can see any component and a plus sign besides it. Just click there and go to any image sprite. when any image sprite edge reached. Now I will take one if condition here. I will go to maths and I will drag one equal to sign. If UFO, I will take the last block, is equal to get component. Then we have to call image sprite dot move to. So we will drag this block. Component will be the get component. X will be random integer. From 20 to 300. And y will be 0. Now we will just click on this icon and we will drag else here. If now we are just saying that if UFO is not the get component, then whichever is the component, we have to set the x value of that component to fighter plane dot x and y will be 276. Now, whenever button 2 is clicked, so button 2 is basically the left button, this. So whenever left button is clicked, we have to set the fighter plane X to, I'll go to maths and I will drag minus sign. Fighter plane dot X minus 10. And if someone clicks on the right button, then we have to set fighter plane dot x to plus 10. So basically using left and right buttons, we are controlling the left and right movement of the fighter plane. Now if the UFO reached the edge, we have to call canvas1 dot clear. We have to set the UFO speed to 0. And we have to set the speed of all the fireball to 0. Then we have to set canvas1 visible to false. we will set the vertical arrangement. So we have made here one vertical arrangement where we will be displaying if the person loses the game. So we will make that vertical arrangement visible to true. And then we will go to designer, storage, and we will drag one tiny database and we will store the value in the tiny DB. Tag will be game scores and value will be the global score. So this is done, and now we are left with more two things, that is, if our fireball hits the UFO, means if we are able to fight with the UFO, then we have to increment the score with 1. And once we reset our game, then we have to reset everything. So we are left with these two things. We will code for that. So if this UFO collided with, so if the UFO collides with anything, that is the fighter plane or the fireball, then we have to call the UFO dot move to X will be random integer from 20 to 300 and Y will be 0. And we have to set the UFO speed to +1. So we are basically making the game little more difficult as the score increases. So the speed will increase and it will become much more difficult to hit the UFO. Then we have to set the global score. We have to increment the global score. So I'll just copy this. I'll remove this block and instead I'll put here get global score. And we have to set the score label.text to global score. And whenever someone clicks on the reset button, so here I'll just click on the plus sign near the vertical arrangement, and whenever restart button is clicked, we have to set UFO speed to 10. Then I'll set the fireball speed to 30. I'll just copy this. I'll delete these blocks. I'll delete this. And we have to set fireball speed to 30. We have to set canvas 1 visible to true. So here I'll copy this block and I will make the vertical arrangement visible to false. I will set the global score to 0 and the score label dot text to get global score. So the code for the play arena is done and our game is almost complete. Now we are left with the final screen, that is statistics, and this is very easy. So basically, whenever the screen is initialized, we have to set label 3 dot text to call tinydb. So I'll just bring one tinydb here. We have to get the value of the tag in which we had stored the data. So we had stored the data in game scores and we will call that. And value, if the tag is not there, we'll set it to 0. And finally, whenever the screen back is pressed, we have to open the home screen, that is screen 1. So our game is completed and I hope you understood how we have developed this game and what are things we have used here. So if you like the video, please like this video, share this video, subscribe to my channel, and if you have any doubts, you can ask me on comment. Thank you.